Hello! 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 Sorry for the incredibly long delay. Yeah, welcome back. For today's stream, we are continuing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. This stream will probably be only around 2 hours because this game, kills my throat. But, yeah, let's get started. I don't really have a plan for next week's streams yet, but we'll see when we get there. Bum, bum. Let's get to it. Oh, there's the pier! Yeah, Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Yes, I would like to start. Oh! Okay, this is... Huh? Oh, do I have to go to select story? No, I don't want to quit the game. Back to title. I assume I have to go back to the title screen and go to select adventure. Oh, here we go. Here's resolve. Alright, new game. Alright, what's going on? New game! Oh, Susato! It's been so long!
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital.
Aww.
You know, he's
She's
flourishing
speaking!
to a
She's
truly
voiced!
wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court.
Probably not, I don't think. I think he's up to something really mundane.
Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you.
Oh, is this a
My
Soki?
life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
Oh, I find myself faced with another awful crime. Oh! Huh? Oh, what happened?
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
Huh? Yo! Yo, Susato? Oh shit, she's dead!
So please, I ask for your guidance. Kazuma-sama.
Kazuma! Kazuma! Oh, episode 1. The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. Oh, she's going in disguise, I assume, because I don't think women were not allowed to be anything back in the day. 13th August, 8:26 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber 3. Here I am again, after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my reserves and find a way to compose myself. Oh, hello! Oh, good, you're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes, good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, counsel. But you look as white as a sheet, and those white eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous. I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born. Oh, Susato! Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. I thought you were sick! Yujin Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. A man who, earlier in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me. Oh, you look so cute! Hello! Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today? Oh, yes. Yes, that's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication, this whole thing! Aww. Rei Membami. Born the same year as I, and my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the university research laboratory, helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Aww. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed. Oh my! It's just that... You look so gallant and dashing! Oh, okay. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Oh, she's so cute. I love her. Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. That's so funny. You're best friends? Ha ha ha. It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. Ah, what do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? Even if your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? Oh my god, you're a little airhead, aren't you? What? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, Ray. It's just that... Oh, she's so cute. I love her. No, what are you doing? What's going on? What? That varsity uniform, that varsity cap, that varsity cape, that varsity badge. Look at you. You look for all the world just like a student from the Imperial Yume University, a male student. I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 this morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? I assume it's because, women at the time were not allowed to do a lot of things. Well, you see, it was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take your defense in this trial.
My defense?
Yeah. Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at being born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom, despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike.
But women are forbidden.
Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer. I love her.
Oh, Susato, you'd go to such lengths for me?
Of course. You're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve.
Oh no, I have complete faith in you.
Ray.
It's so strange, though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already, and yet just because you're a woman.
What a wretched reason! I agree.
I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing!
Ray, please don't look at me like that, with those flushed cheeks and dotting eyes.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just...
You really do look so dashing. Oh, I love her! Yes, you mentioned that once or twice. Ha 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 ha! You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man. I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. She looks so cute! Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped, and how you're trembling ever so slightly.
Susato,
you do believe in me, don't you? Of course I do.
I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder?
Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right?
Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean.
I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence. Which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. Oh, you learned from the best, didn't you?
That means so much to me, Susato.
Defendant, counsel! Court is about to begin! Proceed to the courtroom at once! You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty.
Oh! Stand aside!
Oh, she just jumped in. I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. Well, Susato, you've certainly surprised your father, going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom, and with no prior experience of being a lawyer. There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. But father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this. Oh, what does that mean? Yes, quite right. I kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. Oh, I didn't want to burden her with that. And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case, is it really because of who the victim was? Oh, because it was Giselle from the very first case. We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student. Thank you, father. Oh, he's gonna be our assistant. Okay. I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain, but 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times have I wished that he were here, I wonder? Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. Oh, we can do it, Mikotoba! Have no fear! 13th August, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 1. Sorry. This court is now in session to hear the trial of Rei Membami. Okay. Oh, it's Ochi.
The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency.
Oh, look at her! She looks so good! Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency. We are ready. Ready! Ah, yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryutaro Naruhodo. Is that correct?
Sorry?
Oh, she's nervous! She's so nervous! I love her! Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you in this little adventure. So I'm afraid to... Hey, I simply put down the first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel? Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I'm Ryutaro, he who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. It seems Ryutaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it. And those wild-eyed eyes aren't do you any favors either. Just relax and listen.
Naruhodo?
Fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken.
But the name Naruhodo, would that be perchance be...
You may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. This is, his cousin! That's right. Ryutaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any of Tokyo's pre-eminent lawyers. Any of them! She's so nervous! I love her!
Tut. What a beautiful situation! Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call in a country boy. How dare you!
Susato! Susato! Ray?
Susato is every bit as gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys.
I won't have you making fun of her! Her?
Oh,
Please be careful, Ray! What an unrefined tomboy we have here!
But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not.
I'm so nervous! Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, eyes want to flit! Oh, you can do it, Mikotoba! The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire. You said that about the very first case as well.
Just like the trial 9 months ago.
Oh, well, thank you, Alchi.
And yet, for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock. Dear me.
Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense, to determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood here where you're standing now, the same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of the law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions? Alright, it's time to prove myself. Oh, she has the face lap too! Yes, Your Excellency, but please do make them simple. Very well. To start with, you will state the name of the victim. Oh, that's simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried. What's the matter? Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, mine's are want to blank! Oh, Mikotoba! It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances. Oh dear, this is a dismal failure. Don't fret. You need only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem. Of course! The court record! Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case in the court record. That's right. Just use the right button to open the court record! Okay, we know how to do this. We know how to do this. This is like an entirely new game, I'm pretty sure. Technically, this is just a collection of them, so this shouldn't be too bad. Then you need to flip to the people section with right button. And don't take too long over it. His Excellency is watching you closely. Alright, check the court record with right button. That's where the information I need will be. Alright, let's see. Postmortem report. Time of death is just after 2 p.m. Death is believed to be due to trauma to the victim's lung from a knife blade. Only a single wound was identified. Can I examine this? Ascertained by examination and witness statements. Giselle Brett. Death would have occurred within minutes. Extreme meiosis. Okay. Alright, what about people? Alright. A medical school professor at the Imperial Yume University. He is an authority in forensic medicine in charge of the university's laboratory. He also happens to be my father. My best friend who works as an assistant to my father in his laboratory at the Imperial Yume University. She's the defendant in this case. Giselle Brett. The victim of the case, who was a former British exchange student. 9 months ago, she was found guilty of the murder of visiting professor Dr. John Wilson. Ouchie, the leading prosecutor of this case, who appears to be struggling to accept the changes afoot as a result of these turbulent new times in Japan, the Meiji era. Alright. I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case? It's Giselle Brett.
Yes!
Oh, she's doing the exact same thing! The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett. A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of their country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of our Empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why, then, is her name indelibly associated with our own Empire's judicial history? Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago. But if it is proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you would need is included in the court record! Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett. Behind the woman's student persona was the face of a killer.
Yes!
Oh, look at her! She's so cute. 9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed, and the culprit was Giselle Brett. Yes, she was a killer. Yeah. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain, and it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotoba. Yes, I was indebted to the man, even my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Yeah, that's us! There's Kazuma! I miss you! With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion.
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its
consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China, instead. So then why was she here? Why Shanghai? There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations, personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely board on a steamship. Oh, but that was not the case, huh?
And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed.
Only the day before. That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant. Oh! Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle. Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Ouchi?
As is your wish, Your Excellency.
Did he have hair last time? I forgot if he did or not. I thought he just had, like, the bald cap.
The repugnant crime took place on the 11th August in broad daylight.
On the outskirts... I'm just gonna read this normally. I don't want to do this in a high-pitched, funny voice. On the outskirts of the imperial capital, under a bright blue sky, at scheduled bathing spot by the sea... Oh, secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred in a small beach hut, erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. Oh, and she was found there. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung. An injury which proved fatal. There were two persons alone together at the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett, in her bathing attire, and the accused, Rei Membami. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider that she— Oh, sorry, I'm no longer reading narration.
Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when she considers she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady.
Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say. That's certainly true. The prosecution's summary was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution of what he said about a powerful motive. You're clearly exaggerating. A powerful motive is a blatant overstatement.
Tut, tut, tut. Is the yokel boy using long words he doesn't fully understand? Why don't you shut up?
I beg your pardon?
No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Membami-san, you are a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe.
Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment. I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility.
Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then? I was studying under John H. Wilson.
Oh! Huh! That would be a motive, wouldn't it? Revenge? Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago?
The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson.
You're just fabricating tales now. You are not providing any evidence.
Is that not true?
Yes.
Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man. Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the Englishwoman who killed him.
Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred. Oh no, Ray, be careful of what you're saying.
Ah. The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency.
Well, it was clearly a trap all along. How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. I must find out more details and something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer. Oh, okay. It's all of them. The bathing spot. If I may, Prosecutor Ouchie.
What do you want, you flesh-faced young yokel student?
Can you shut up? Oh my god. I'm certainly wincing in pain. I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot.
My apologies. Clearly my
Okay.
Well, modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind.
Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins. No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea?
For old time's sake, I believe.
Sorry?
Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast.
Huh.
And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply.
But on what grounds would we agree to such a request? Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal.
Don't look at me, Professor! It was the government who granted permission, not I! In any case, it was decided with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong.
But in fact, a murder took place.
I said don't look at me! It was that young student girl who did it, not I! Well, it wasn't her!
No one has proved that yet. I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to. Yeah. At this stage, I need to gather more information, I think. Lawyer... Okay, being alone together. Membami-san?
Yes, what is it? Naruhodo-san?
I'm really starting to wish we'd made my alias Ryutaro Susato. Please tell the court why you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place, and why you were alone with her.
Oh, well, no, that's not true. It was not like that at all. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all.
But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else.
Could someone have been hiding, I feel like?
The truth is, there was only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life.
No!
Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again.
Kindly refrain from conjecture, counsel.
Tashaha.
Okay. I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other a number of occasions. Seeing the murder of the mentor for whom she had such great respect enjoying her undeserved liberty. Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai, you can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment. Poor Ray.
So, Your Excellency, if you would be so kind as to peruse this exhibit, a photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
Oh, you guys have... whoa! Oh. Yes. Thank you, Counsel. A tragic image.
As you can clearly see, there is nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have hidden.
What about the huge-ass dress that she was wearing? The court will accept this photographic print as evidence. Photographic print! As I understand it then, the victim and the defendant were alone in the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case.
Yeah, why don't you give it to us?
We intend to prove that the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence.
Why don't you show me that damning evidence, huh? Witnesses? But who?
One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective.
Oh, it's Hosonaga?
I assure you the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt.
I doubt that. Very well then, counsel. Bring forth your witnesses.
I, Takeshi Ochi, have been waiting for this moment.
Sorry?
Oh yes, I haven't forgotten. That trial 9 months ago, here in this very courthouse. When that irrelevant little student boy utterly humiliated me.
Oh, I hope you're ready to be humiliated again. Oh, he did, like...
Ryunosuke Naruhodo!
Yes? You had your hair up, okay.
This insult to the Ochi family name will never be forgotten!
You've become conceited with age, counsel, but the old have to stand aside to make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that! Ah, that's what happened. Yeah, I forgot that.
Strike the head of a samurai whose top-knot has been cut, and the bell for cultural enlightenment tolls.
Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died. The start of your own mini Meiji revolution. Are you modernizing as well, counsel?
Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle off the top of my head.
Observe the Ochi. Oh, yeah, he has like a little tussle.
You see the seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expense of my crown.
I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me something.
I'm afraid I can't really see. But where is the hope exactly?
Oh.
I said silence! Today I face another yokel student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you, and my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand.
It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. The prosecution and defense has much to lose. A haircut is hardly comparable to Rei's life. Aw, she's a little hung up on that, huh? Alright, I'm expecting... Yeah, there's... he's in a bathing suit. Huh? Soseki! Soseki!
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court.
Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. You have a little, like, turtle on your head. And I am, well, next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital, in fact. Yes. Soon to be sold out, the satirical I Am a Cat, a sensational success by by Soseki Natsume. He's got a little pen boy now, or like a little photographer guy. Oh my goodness! Struggling student from the provinces, please. You needn't be awed of me. I need it. It's only natural that you feel nervous in my presence. But all of you, please, relax. Call me Soseki even. Yes. What on earth is Soseki-san doing here? Tread carefully, Suzato. That author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun. Also Hosonaga! Yes, of course. I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I will certainly never forget him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that it's been since I last saw him. Yeah, you think? And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe. Do I have something on my face? Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either. Ah, I suppose it's this disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business does the writer such as yourself, have being at the scene, Soseki-san? Well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture, on the morning of the incident, in the Imperial Yume University Grand Lecture Hall, no less. At Yume University? After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the medical science department. The professor over there, in fact. With Professor Mikotoba! Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or another about 2 former students who'd study in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press would never leave me alone. Basically spy, snapshots, scribble stories. It's superb, my privacy. I love this guy. I love Soseki. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thanks? Thank you very much! You actually threw that paper at me. Oh, the Soseki Natsume article has been entered into the court record. A newspaper containing an article about a discussion between my father and Soseki-san. The debate became quite spirited. I'll take a look at that right now, actually. Give me 1 second, Soseki. Oh, the frame... This is broken. This frame. I can't read a lot of this. I can read this. I know what this means. Alright. But I assume the rest of that, I assume none of this text is important. What we really need is, like, the fact that this photo is correct. Are you in here? You are! You look a lot happier. Successful author and a witness to the case. Chief Inspector in the Imperial Police Bureau who was submerged in the sea in order to keep watch. Oh! This guy was keeping watch on her, huh? Anyway, following my interview with the professor, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see our country's coast. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory, under strict surveillance, of course. Oh.
At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance.
The response was, permit Miss Brett to go along as a detective accompanies her. That detective, I am at liberty to divulge, was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga.
Thereby, the entire party departed, cordially, for the seaside, it seems.
It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. But fortunately, I am at peak physical fitness at the moment, so no, you aren't. Yeah, no, you aren't, buddy. I was able to carry out my duties flawlessly. Oh my, Inspector, you... Well, you do have something on your face now. Ah, how unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean that you went to the beach too, Father? Oh no, fortunately I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that, as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. So of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. Ah, but if only if I had! I'd never seen that awful sight! Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret! I love him, so funny. Very well. I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will be given an account that all of you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am. Poor guy. At least he's not being accused right now. The witnessed scene. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just managed to catch that crab when I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me. I ran into the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question. Yes, yes, yes! That young girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly! I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times. Uh-huh. That's, pretty damning, I think. Okay. Indeed, it does appear that from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime. What?
Now, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, that it was damning evidence.
What have you there, Counsel? A so-called fountain pen, is it? Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify your killer. How? What?
Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the scene once more.
This is a wine glass. Goodness me! Yeah, she's clutching it.
Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand.
So, did Ray, like, take out the knife for reasons unknown? Okay. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah! The owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. Ray Membami. The initials of the defendant! Oh, no! Oh, she does the same fall too. Oh, that is... oh, a stack of papers. Okay, I thought it was like TV static. This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence. Alright, the fountain pen has been entered into the court record. Let me see that, let me see that, let me see that. Oops. Let me see that pen. I don't trust it. I can't examine it. Okay. Decisive testimony and damning evidence.
There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel.
I don't understand. The prosecutor Ochi of 9 months ago had none of this man's poise. Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Naruhodo-san! Naruhodo. That means... Oh, yes, me! Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom? Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom. Kyozan Yutaro, pull yourself together, please. Alright, I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witness testimonies to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. Alright, okay, so when we, if and when we press, I'm gonna skim it and not read it, just so that my throat doesn't die before, when I actually decide to end stream. Oh, excuse me. Remember to drink water, kids. This is how we're gonna get through it. Okay. The day of the incident. Let's... Oops, that's not it. Let me see the other things real quick. Single soup that wound. Okay, and then this one was just a photo, and that's the pen. I can't even look at it right now. I had to catch the crab, and something I heard. Yeah. I need to be sure to answer I found the pair in the question. Oh, striped dagger in hand as she stabbed wildly. On the blade. It proved to me that she had stabbed the victim multiple times. Oh, that's incorrect!
Objection!
Here you go. Oh! Oh! Pull yourself together! With that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here in this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed. What is the meaning of that menacing pose, Council? I'd like the witness to clarify something for me. Ooh, what? Where? When? How? I love this guy. Not you, Soseki-san. The query is just directed at Inspector Hosonaga. At me? In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said when I entered the hut, the defense was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be. What? Get to the point, please, Counsel. Oh, she's holding up her book! In the postmortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only. Oh. Yeah! In other words, Inspector Hosanaga's testimony is clearly flawed. Let's go! Oh, she has her own pursuit theme. Ah, and Soseki-san. Me? You claim to have seen Mami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim. Yes, I did! Wildly! Except they only stabbed once. But both you and the inspector confirmed the same point. That there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding. Yes, and? It's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there's no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred. Ah, true! And what exactly is your contention, Counsel? Are you ever going to tell us? Yes, Your Excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim. Oh, she took out the knife! But the moment that the defendant had in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body. That can't be! I love this guy! Excellent work, Susato. Exploded at them with that objection, and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Objection!
Well, this takes me back.
Oh? Yes, I seem to remember your counsel staged a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago.
A half-witted child with a half-baked objection, attempting to steal the show.
You're right. There were certainly similarities. Except that so-called half-wit child managed to outwit the prosecution. It was only who only has a half head of hair. Slender! My friend is quite adequately dressed! I disagree. In any case, all this talk of stabbing, withdrawing, and multiple wounds makes not a jot of difference. What? Why not? Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged their deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. And it was that moment that she had just withdrew the blade ready for a next strike that the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim. You need to stop pulling stories out of your ass. Ah.
All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustached author is prone to moments of extravagance.
Ah! No! Not Soseki-san! I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion. But if she was withdrawing the blade...
Then we are back where we started.
Sorry?
Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? And with a demon's cold-like composure, too. The prosecution demands an explanation, and that better be good.
Oh, why did Ray pull out the knife? Ah, yes. Going for the jugular. What does father mean by that? Let the court hear your answer then, counsel. The truth is, I don't really know. But I have come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife blade out of the victim's body was surely so she could... Why would she hide the knife? Well, I mean, the knife isn't there. Like, the knife isn't anywhere. Hide the knife? I think it was possibly so that she could hide the murder weapon.
And yet the murder weapon was left there, thrust into the sand at the scene.
Having pulled the knife from the victim, she couldn't find a place to hide it, so that was her only option, perhaps. Doesn't that... What does that mean? I think, counsel, that you were ill-advised with your answer initially, and you were further ill-advised to pursue it. Oh no, that's our first donk! And I don't even have a save to go back. Oh dear, I'm terribly sorry. It was probably to save her life. This job is not to be taken lightly. There's just so much pressure. Just because you're under pressure doesn't mean you can say the first thing that comes into your head. I'm sorry! I'd like to revise my answer, Your Excellency. Oh, okay. It's to save her life. According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Indeed, giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer.
The point is, being a medical research assistant, Menbami-san was compelled to act when faced with the wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled out blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. Oh. They're all thinking, did I say something incorrect?
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem that this is the best we can expect of this young yokel.
Indeed. I'm sorry? Is this just me, or does it suddenly feel much colder in here? Your Excellency, if I may. Oh? Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify. Thank you, Hosonaga. In respect to the sliphood assertion forth by the yokel defense council, I mean. Slipshod?
An excellent idea, Inspector.
Our young yokel hopefully has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems.
But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess one iota of common sense.
Well, yeah. Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion. Okay. Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly. Alright. Witness testimony! Forensic medicine primer. Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. That's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget that the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor. Nice and straightforward. Is what you just said true, Inspector? Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily? Well, yeah, because you're removing what's stopping the blood from flowing. Yes. Think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed. Oh, I see.
This is why Yoko should stay on the farm. What is your issue? You are, quite frankly, a bitch. Even a quack from some obscure mountain village would have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it. Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see, or pulled a blade out of a wound, so... Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit. Father, is it true, what they're telling me? Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been very well aware of it. If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways. But then, why would Ray have done it? Could she have pulled out the knife in full knowledge that it would be fatal for Miss Oh, the knife was probably coated with something. I don't know. Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It seems almost impossible to believe, but... Could my friend actually have... Susato? Yes? Pull yourself together! You mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Ah! Counsel, it is time for your cross-examination. Oh, yes, Your Excellency! However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issues with the established facts, I will be moving to my adjudication immediately afterwards. And she's doing the same thing! I understand. Believing in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard. Alright. Cross-examination! Cause heavy bleeding. It's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant that knows sense. Can't examine anything in 3D quite yet. The young student did have a motive. I mean, the victim murdered 9 months ago. This is hopeless. I can't find a single crack in this testimony anywhere. Okay, we were meant to go to the end. If I knew that withdrawing the knife from the wound would threaten Miss Brett's life further, I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it. Susato? So at times like these where it's especially important to remember the fundamentals. The fundamentals? Evidence is what counts in the courtroom, isn't it? Of course! But I've been there with the court records dozens of times already! I think perhaps you're forgetting something, though. How to examine things in 3D! You needn't take the evidence at face value. You can and must examine it in greater detail, too. Ah! I realize it is your first time playing the role of the lawyer in the courtroom, so if you need reminding of the rudiments, you need only ask. I'll do my very best to help. Examine the evidence in the court record? It's an idea, certainly. What should I do? I know what to do, don't worry! Come to think of it, Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san were always turning evidence over and over in their hands. Yes, I need to examine things in great detail with A! Ah, with the look in your eyes, I see it's coming back to you. Go through the court record again and have a thorough look at everything. You may just find a clue. Yes! I'll do it straight away! Whoops. Alright, give me the court record. Give me the court record. Give me the court record. Not this one. Can I... Oh, this is 3D. Okay. Oh, there's a backside to this. Let's check out the backside first. She looks so pretty. From Soseki-san, seems to be an important article on the back page as well. Exclusive, deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. Oh! Your research... Father, isn't that your lab? What the? Let me see that. The poison's been stolen! It's this morning's paper that Soseki-san gave us. Are you saying you didn't know? As I'm rehearsing it. So that is for the head of the laboratory. I didn't. I've not heard such a thing. Where on earth could the reporter have gleaned his information? Soseki! Come to think of it, there was no article mentioning the story in our paper this morning, was there? It's a highly toxic poison we've been working on in the strictest confidence. I put Ray in charge of the project. Ray? She was managing it? If what's written here is true,
It means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, the details were leaked somehow. I don't believe it! Okay. Alright, article. A poison article. Knew nothing of the incident. And then this front side is just the Raucous England return. Please tell all. So it was quite an exchange. He was talking about his time in England. The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me on the neck. Oh, I hope you weren't hurt. Okay. Can I 3D examine this now? Oh, what's this? There's some sort of emblem here. Look. Yume University one. Oh, it's not. It's not hers! Business of some kind, but it seems to imply the pen doesn't in fact belong to Ray. Alright. There's some description. Can we open it? Oh, okay, we can. Oh, no, we can! It's just a regular pen. Oh, and screw the barrel! Can you take it out? There's a little reservoir that holds the ink. Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from a bottle up through the nib. Something wrong, Father? Doesn't actually seem to be any ink in there, that's all. So you're right, it's pretty much empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. There's a very small amount of liquid still inside the reservoir. Oh, this updated like 3 times. That's all we got? Yes, RM. Engraved in here, and the fact that Miss Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moments is very clearly a message too. Oh, this has, didn't the autopsy report say something similar? Yeah, extreme meiosis pupil constriction was observed in the victim in both eyes. No, there is. This
Objection!
one. No, there is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. What?
Huh, the yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, but is also a poor loser. I think you're the poor loser here, buddy. Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified?
It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from a laboratory at the Imperial Yume Unit.
Objection!
The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case.
Oh no, it does have relevance.
But,
Prosecutor Ouchi, you will let the defense speak.
but a newspaper article. The court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry.
Okay. Counsel for the defense. I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You'll indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article affirms your assertion.
Your Excellency!
Yes, of course. Thank you. Ray would never have done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife for the victim, where it says... Oh, it should be deadly in tiny quantities, right? Deadly in tiny quantities. The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with poison, it's rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes. Are you suggesting... If the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Mami-san, would withdraw the blade as soon as possible. Yes, the truth is, it was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body. What? Let's go! Let's go! We're lawyering!
This is complete and utter nonsense!
Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility.
Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage! The word poison appears nowhere in the document.
Well, that's... It says! There's a symptom of it! That's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking hold.
Objection!
Oh please, this is clearly desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind. Poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware.
Excuse me, it's more like you haven't read the court record, you bitch!
We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is at all reliable anyway.
In that situation, what the students should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive. But instead, you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. She must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense.
Exactly. Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she do it? Yokel?
Why did Ray suspect the stolen poison was involved? Because you read the court article! I got it! If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds. What? Let's go! Eat shit!
You can't possibly...
From your expression, counsel, it would appear those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice system. The court demands evidence. Yes, Your Excellency. I'm well aware of that. I've seen it many times. From my place at his side in the Old Bailey. Oh, I miss them! In that case, counsel, you will present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between this case and the poison in the newspaper article? This one!
Take that!
I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction, was observed in the victim. Ah, yeah! She had symptoms! Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death.
Well...
Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there were an extreme constriction instead, that's most certainly unusual, yes.
What are you doing, you yokel detective?
Yeah, why don't you... Haha! In the newspaper article, there's following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death.
What?
If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, had happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Pratt's had been constricted severely, yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt. Prosecutor Ouchi, I think you'll agree that this is very compelling evidence. Evidence that you gave, by the way. You yokel student and yokel professor! What does yokel mean? Hang on, I'm searching it up. What does yokel mean? Yokel. Meaning... an uneducated and unsophisticated person from the countryside. Okay. I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions. No! Eugene Mikotoba. Yes, Your Excellency? I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument. You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please. It pains me to have admitted, but I'm afraid I don't know. You don't know? The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft. Do you mean to tell the court that the reports of this theft are unfounded? No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say.
Ha! Listen to the bumbling academic.
Well, he's more accomplished than you are, buddy, so why don't you shut up?
unaware of the theft and secret state research from his own workplace until he reads of it in the newspaper.
I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision.
Father. A pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allowing them off on killing sprees.
That's totally unfounded. Huh? Hold it. Oh, Ray!
None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault!
Ray! Membami-san, you stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated.
But it was me. I was the one who noticed that the poison we're developing had been stolen that day.
What? So you knew?
I've been placed in charge and overseeing the project. It was the date that the professor and Soseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount, it was.
Oh, it's in the pen. Why didn't you let me know immediately?
I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had somehow been taken. So, I decided I'd try to get it back before anyone else found out. Because I had a very good idea who the thief was.
The thief? You don't mean... Oh, she was just trying to find her.
Yes, of course. It was that dainty English woman.
Miss Giselle Brett.
That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable.
Oh.
I know it was you who stole the poison!
Well now, whatever do you mean?
And then, she suddenly got to her feet, before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor.
Huh?
That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes they'd shrunk to tiny pinpoints.
I don't believe it. In other words, you realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison.
My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips while I'd been with her, which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body.
On the blade of the knife in her back. Yep. And that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade.
Yes. If the amount that had entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I had hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent all this time.
Oh. No, Ray, you were trying to help. It's okay. Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I have duly noted the courage with which you confessed in the end.
Thank you. Your Excellency!
Oh, now we have to figure out who actually did it. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here. In this courtroom now. Let's go!
Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say? Well, then, Bami-san, if that is the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed. Well,
You have no
answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge.
Why don't you shut up?
Objection!
But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you? Do you?
Oh, I have evidence,
You do?
and it is very much conclusive.
What's the prosecution counsel up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. Oh, he hesitated, huh? I'm almost sure of it. You'll produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Professor Ochi.
Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student.
What?
I had imagined there would be no need for me to submit this evidence,
Oh, it has the same crack as the other camera.
but you brought this on yourself.
Huh? Isn't that just her pulling the knife out? What the? Could a more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on that beach is almost palpable.
This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused's murderous nature. For it shows the precise moment that Menlame-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back. No, that's not true. No. I don't believe it.
It's gotta be faked somehow, because it has the... Order? Order! Order! It has the same crack, though, so... as the newspaper, so we gotta do with that information what we will. Counsel for the defense. Was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom? Perhaps his voice has yet to break.
These yokels are slow of mind and slow to mature. Why don't you shut up?
I'll show you who's slow to mature. Careful now. Susato is starting to show her face there. It is often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cogent photographic print as evidence. The incriminating photograph has been entered into the court record. I can't believe he's had a photograph like that up his sleeve this entire time. Such a stark image. I'm genuinely lost for words.
Wait a minute, I don't understand. How did you... I mean, who took that photograph?
Ray.
Objection!
That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention. Oh,
Objection!
That's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. Yeah, take that! I will uphold the defense's demand. The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once.
well, I'm afraid I can't do that.
Oh, why not? Pardon?
You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday, and there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the print is unknown.
Goodness. So you just got a photo and was like, oh, might as well. Are we to understand then, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court? When you first produced that print before, I noticed you hesitate for a brief moment, because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you?
Silence, you yokel student and blabbering professor!
What matters is the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses. She's pulling it out, though. But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment that the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but the moment it was withdrawn.
Don't waste the court's time with your ramblings.
Indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. And the scene it captures is without doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear.
No, we can!
Oh no! Susato, this is the time for you to fight. If what you established so far is true, then there can be no doubt. There's a similarity! This photograph shows the moment that Ray withdrew the blade from the victim. Yes, we just need to prove that somehow.
Tish, ha ha! You'll have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came up against Taketsuchi Ochi in a court of law.
If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial is going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There is! There is! There is! Well, counsel? Your Excellency? The burning question is who took that photograph. And the truth is, I have the answer! This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to! The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal.
Oh, no! You can't possibly!
Bro, you are incompetent. I don't know what else to say.
But as you so boldly claim that you can, please do enlighten us.
Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name.
How utterly underwhelming. Do you really believe you could?
However, I am able to present evidence. The defense has a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity.
Huh?
Very well then, counsel. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity? It's this one.
Take that!
What is that? The newspaper again. Marcus, England. Returnees tell all. It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. Yeah, it's the same crack. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there is some white lines on the right-hand side. Ah, yes, indeed. They had already caught my eye, as it happens.
Ha! What of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably. Then the branches of a
shadows are not white, bro. There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you. Now, if you look closely at this photograph, good gracious! Yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph too.
Objection!
Well, that tells us it does! It tells us who took it! It was taken with the same camera!
Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely. From the branches of a tree. There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach, counsel. What's quite remarkable about it is that the two patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired? From the same camera! Here's matching patterns, perfect pins. It's a result of a camera defect! The camera is broken! Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs. I can't read.
With the photographic device?
Yes, we can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched, and that the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device. In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. Yeah, take that, you bozo!
What?
There must be hundreds of such camera devices in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one. Well, it would! Professor, who took your photo?
Objection!
I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor Ouchi, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. A newspaper... Ah! That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime. Whoa! 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 Oh, Minimoto! Who's that? Oh. I see why you were called a raucous England returnee.
What are you yelling about? You're already testified!
It's Memo. It's Memo, I tell you. Manimoto! Memo! Soseki-san? What was that? Did you say Memo? Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. A reporter by the name of Raiden Memo. Yes, hunting me from dawn till dusk. Ah, now that he mentions it. Yeah, there was that guy behind him. The stories and scupper my privacy. But he has like a splotch on his hand. Is that the poison? That same reporter be. A camera to the left of him, a notebook to the right. There I am, stuck in the middle with. Right then, oh, the pen belongs to him. He stole it. Oh, he's the killer. So you're saying that this picture was taken by Momo? Yes, my lord, your excellency, Esquire. Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime. Oh, Yes, Your Excellency. As you say, Your Excellency. And one more thing. Oh, shit! I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. You will solicit the assistance of Imperial University's medical department for the task. Understood? Meh. Momo! Let's go! We did it! To be continued! Alright, let's save. Oh, it's the new one. Oh, it says which game my thing is from. Alright, I do realize it's a bit early, but I am actually going to end stream here. I can feel my throat already suffering from the consequences of my actions. And it also seems like a good time to just stop here. We can finish the trial, next time. No please, oh please, I do not want to progress with the story! But yeah, we hit a to be continued, so it seemed like a good time to stop here. Exit game. Wait, no, not exit game. Not exit game. Back to title. Yeah, I'll save again. Actually, no, it's fine. No. Back to title. Don't save. Yes. Okay. Thank you guys for stopping by. If you'd like, come join the Discord server. We have fun here, I swear. If you want to see my art or other people's art, come look at my Twitter, but Twitter's kind of dying, so come look at my Tumblr instead. And if you want to watch past streams, come look at their YouTubes. But that's all I've got for you guys tonight. I will be releasing the schedule soon, probably. Have a good night. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.